We are launching this week, actually in Asia, a new technology, and really an insight-driven technology, to help us learn more about what people do online and have that enhance some of the things that we learn from our surveys. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So please feel free to write down any questions, and certainly be happy to discuss them as we go through. So this is in your deck. We don't need to spend much time going through the Ipsos part. But I did want to tell you a bit about MediaCT, just because it helps to frame the tool that we're launching today. So MediaCT was actually created in 2008 within Ipsos. We are and have been doing media audience measurement research around the world since almost the founding of Ipsos. In fact, Didier Truchot, who's our CEO, created Ipsos on media research. And our first two products was actually a business elite survey, not dissimilar from PAX. Hello, welcome. Not dissimilar from PAX, and that was created in 1975 in France. And he also created an outdoor measurement system not long after, in 1979. So the company has a true love of media and media research. We decided in 2008 that the world is not about just media anymore. It's about the content that's delivered, the platforms on which that's delivered, and hence extended into the content and technology phase. And I have to say, it's still very much, Didier still runs the company, and it's still very much his passion to create and support the MediaCT work that's done around the world. So that includes the work that we've done in readership in the UK, which we do all of the contracts there. Hi, welcome, come on in. We're only on slide 2 or 3, so unfortunately others have been witness to the long introduction. So great. So that's what we do in terms of MediaCT. Steve, one of my colleagues here in Hong Kong, works in that group with me, as well as many of my other colleagues that you've met and have been in and out of the room. We have offices in 85 countries, all of those kind of things that make us big. So of course, passive measurement is not really new to the media space. You know, we've been tracking what people watch and what they do in the media space for quite a long time from an audience standpoint, whether it be set-top boxes or any other kind of technology. What is new is really the use of these kind of tools to expand what we can learn from people's activities, and specifically online and on mobile, and also how we can use it for some of our custom research. So rather than setting up large panels and involving large studies, you know, how can we just really enhance and learn a little bit more in some of the really core research pieces that we do by understanding what people do online. And this term passive measurement, you know, as I said, has been used for quite a long time, but really has a very broad meaning. You know, it can be anything that we do where we look at and understand what people do without actually asking them questions. So we have, for example, a very large ethnography group that follows people, looks at those sorts of activities in the home or work. But also here we're talking about the technologies that capture that information. And it really is one of the top priorities of the company now, as we move from asking people questions into really analyzing what people are doing in a different way. It's really changing the industry. So just to give you a quick overview before we get into the PC side of the presentation today. We have many different things and ways which we're collecting information without asking questions. We have a new tool that we have launched into market called MediaCell, and it's really for radio or soon-to-be TV audience measurement. And it's a very exciting, very innovative passive measurement tool for the MediaCT space. And I'm not talking about that today, but if you're interested, be happy to follow up. It's now been launched in Italy. We're looking at various other markets around the world. Uses encoded signals or audio matching to record audience metrics from audience for the purposes of audience measurement. But it's very successfully received in all the markets in which they've tested it. So the BBC's done its own testing and has really endorsed the technology from a technology and platform standpoint. So that's from our audience passive. Then today we're going to be talking about PC and mobile and how we can track what people do on those devices. And of course there's a whole area around biometrics, putting on the belt, putting on little helmets to see how people react to content, movies, TV shows. And we have actually a partnership with Time Warner in the US and opened the Time Warner Media Lab, which is a fully equipped biometric lab specifically for content testing. So another whole area that if you'd like more information, we can follow up separately. But today I'm going to show you a little bit about PC passive and what we can learn through tracking people's activity online, knowing that a lot of what we see here we can extrapolate into some of the other technologies and pieces that we just reviewed. So one of the things about our approach, which I think is quite unique, is that really it's a tool. Hi, welcome. Hi, come on in. No problem. Come on in and grab a seat anywhere. And the decks are just there so you can follow along. Great, thanks. So we're just talking about the passive measurement on PCs. This is a tool that has been built by Ipsos. So similar to our media cell tool, Ipsos has built this product for research. So we didn't go out and find the technology and try and fit it. It's actually built for research. And we've designed it to do things to help understand media and communications, brand research, testing content, and also testing what people do online. You'll see some examples. I have lots of case studies to show you what the data looks like. So pretty basic from a technology standpoint. We all go online, we all go to websites. This is a piece of technology you install. It captures your URL behavior, what sites you go to, how long you spent, and where you went after. I have a little, you can probably see it here in the little P. This is the software. You can enable, you can pause, and it just sits in the tray of your computer. Pretty basic software, but sitting there, it has many advantages. We can have the panelists install this, and then it starts to collect information, and you can see here this is actually just 5 lines from the tool. Shows you exactly what we get out in terms of the URLs. And we have a whole slew of other information, how long they spent, what tab was active, what browser they were using. But the real benefit for us is the ability to communicate with the panelists through this, and also the technology's been built to enable us to set some rules for easy measurement. Before you go in, you can design some search terms, for example, maybe for your media competitor or another brand you want to investigate. And every time respondents search for that, we can easily track that and almost real time understand where they've gone after that. So it's almost an instantaneous response to a search term. And then measuring the frequency and path of search. Just some people are curious about the respondent experience, so just spend a few minutes on that. It is fully branded under the Ipsos name, called the Ipsos Panel Plus. Very fast install, less than 30 seconds. It has been designed specifically for minimal intrusion on the respondent, make it very easy. And that's because it helps to improve our panels and obviously makes it a lot less expensive in the end. So of course, there's an immense amount of activity online. You've probably all seen this statistic. Hi, welcome. 16 to 20% of searches that get asked have never been asked before every day. This is from Google. And about 450 billion unique queries, which is why the ability to set your search terms but also investigate other terms is really important. So all that's great, the background on the technology, but wanted to spend the last bit looking at exactly what we learned from the tool and how we can gain better insights. So of course, if you have any other questions on the technology itself, we can discuss that after the formal presentation. So of course, the number one and first thing everyone wants to know is who's online, how much time are they spending, how many times do they go online, and what's their usage frequency. So, a couple of very easy metrics. And this is actual behavior. So we don't ask one question. This is all tracked and analyzed without ever communicating with the respondent. Obviously, we can then look at when they go online, and this is both overall, but of course, as we go through, you'll see we can do this for specific websites. So when are they engaging with the site? What else are they doing? What time of day? And what sort of information are they looking for? So here we have categories of sites. This is known as our taxonomy. So site classifications. So social networks would be obvious. Search sites, e-commerce sites, things that we call local when you start looking for directory of information or maps, which also is included in the local category. And the first column tells us who went to these sites in a 4-week period, so just a measure of incidence. We can then find out how many times they went, what we define as the number of sessions, and then of course the number of minutes and time that they spent on that site. Again, all without asking one question. And of course, because we have this, we can cut it by any other information, whether they're a subscriber to a particular site, whether they're a subscriber to a particular media of any kind, whether or not they have a specific type of mobile device, and all of this is now available through a combination of the panel and the passive measurement. Of course, that's a kind of complicated, lots of information graph, so we can always make it look a little bit more interesting. And in this case, we're mapping the time spent, your standard kind of reach and frequency chart. Again, all tracked using the passive measurement tool. You start to then get a sense of how people are using the various sites and the categories. Of course, just another more graphically interesting way to show some of the same material. Just to give you, again, just as an idea of how we can narrow this down, if I'm in the banking or the finance world, I may want to know when people are going to banking sites through the day and when they actually do their shopping. So of course, find out how much we have in the morning and, as we say, spend it in the afternoon and the evening. We've done a lot of work on how this compares to what people say versus what they do. Obviously, that's really helpful information as we delve more deeply into surveys. Sometimes we wonder, well, that can't be right. That doesn't make any sense. So we can track passively when people are going onto social sites, and we can ask people when they're going on social sites. We see that we underestimate during the day, and we overestimate in the evening how much time we spend. probably intuitive, but being able to quantify some of that and get into the details can be very useful. But then we can get into the real insights. So let's say we want to know how much time people are spending on sites, my site, and my competitors' sites. This is fictitious data for reasons that are obvious, I'm sure. Didn't want to risk putting any numbers in. But you can see as we went across, we could actually track among a group of sites how much time people are spending on each one. But not only that, we can then cut it by whether they're a subscriber. What else do they do? What is some of the profile, and better understanding the market? So in this case, for example, we can say, okay, you're a subscriber. How much time are you spending on my site versus competitor sites? I subscribe maybe to the online version of the site. Time spent, and again, what else and who else are these people? Maybe I am a subscriber to another type of publication. But this, another area is to understand my audience a bit better. So who's going on luxury sites? Let's take people that spend some time on luxury sites. I compare that by my brand. How do they feel about my brand? Are they aware of my brand? Are they using my brand? This is a group of people that are spending a lot of time searching and reviewing and reading luxury sites. How do they feel about me? So another way to really understand your audience without asking people some of the specific questions. And not only that, we can then take that to another level on the satisfaction people have. So in this case, again, it's just minutes, but we can also track who they are and some of the other demographic profile. Of course, a really interesting application of this tool is what do they do before they make a decision. This was a case study we did in the Netherlands for an electronics manufacturer, tracking what happened 2 days before purchase and where people went in terms of the decision and the mapping out process to follow where people are actually moving. So this is where they were 2 days prior, and these are the sites they were looking at just before they made a purchase. Quite a different profile of sites and activities as you move through the purchase process. We also learn a lot about the type of retailers they're going to before they make a purchase. So in this case, it's time spent. You can see as they get closer to the purchase, they start to go to a lot more competitive sites than people do when they're at the start, the red bar here, than when they start the interest in the purchase cycle. So you can really start to follow along what people are doing, and at the decision point, what are some of the influences that they're using to make that decision. So obviously if we want to do a study, it's very straightforward. As I said, this has been designed for research purposes, so it's not just a piece of technology we're fitting into the system. Standard things. What do I want to know? Who do I want to track? What sites do I want to go to? Search terms. And what do I want to do with my survey that can give me some more attitudinal information? So, as we just reached the last slide, just here we're focusing on online passive. But at the start, as you know, we talked about many different other ways in which we're tracking what people do to better understand their behavior without ever asking any of the questions. So this tool we're launching around the world this week is another opportunity to learn what people do and gain insight combined with some of the other objectives and things that we do in the MediaCT space. The goal, of course, being to all of which to gain better insight and enable you to make better decisions.